The cover page of One Piece chapter 1089, titled The Siege Barricading Incident, presents an unusual scene. In the image, a cow adorned with a tattoo delivers warm milk to Nami during her nighttime endeavor of charting sea routes. Meanwhile, Sanji observes with contentment from a nearby window. In Luffy's hometown of Fuchsia Village in the East Blue, news about Garp's uncertain situation has already become widely known. The people who are familiar with him are on edge due to the lack of information from Hakainasu. However, despite their concerns, the village mayor is confident that a figure as legendary as Garp will manage without needing their worries. This sentiment is shared by Makino. However, when the elderly man hears laughter, he becomes agitated and questions the source of amusement, only to realize it's coming from Makino's child. This prompts him to swiftly apologize. Makino acknowledged that despite her resolve, she couldn't help but feel concerned about Garp. She went on to mention that her child had recently become familiar with Luffy's visage due to the frequent appearance of his image in newspapers. Evidently, the baby had developed a fondness for their older sibling, Luffy. At the same time, Dodon was emotionally affected, shedding tears over the challenges that both Garp and Luffy were currently facing. Magra's appearance had also undergone some changes recently. However, before Dodon could conclude her thoughts, something managed to capture her complete attention. In Logue Town streets within the East Blue, widespread panic had erupted due to a violent earthquake. Simultaneously, in another part of the East Blue, an ominous tsunami was rapidly approaching an island, necessitating an urgent evacuation to higher ground. The West Blue was also in a state of chaos as the members of the Nihon Navy struggled to respond. The situation in the North Blue was no better, mirroring the turmoil elsewhere. The earthquake that had occurred on this particular day resulted in the most extensive and far-reaching destruction ever recorded in the world's history. In the expanse of the Grand Line, Laboon sensed the shifts occurring. The vibrations were perceived even in Water 7, catching the attention of individuals like Iceberg, Tilestone, and a few others. Rear Admiral Hina, stationed at Marine Headquarters, also detected the disturbance. Meanwhile, Momonosuke, as he surveyed his nation, experienced the same phenomenon. The unsettling occurrence left some criminals in a state of panic, prompting them to speculate about the sea's unusual behavior. From the depths of the ocean to the realm of the celestial dragons, the disruption made its presence felt across great distances. Interestingly, even Lord Amisha, situated at the very epicenter of the crisis, remained elusive due to the peculiar and intricate geography of the world. Following the disappearance of the Lucia kingdom from maps, an ensuing event unfolded several days later, triggered by the earthquake. This event resulted in a rise in the world's sea levels by approximately 1 meter. On Momoiro Island, the inhabitants of the Kamabaka Queendom were left incredulous by the unfolding phenomenon. The island's shoreline had sunken to a lower level than ever before. Despite their anticipation of the tide eventually receding, the residents refrained from taking lengthy strolls along the beach for the time being. The reality was that numerous coastlines and islands had completely disappeared. One island, in particular, had suffered such extensive flooding that its inhabitants were forced to abandon it entirely, as the place had become uninhabitable. Remarkably, even sharks had claimed residence within someone's home due to the inundation. Although it wasn't the season for high tides, reports of significant flooding were emerging from various regions. Back in Fuchsia, an individual expressed optimism about the possibility of a fruitful fishing expedition that day. However, they were promptly admonished by another person who warned against sailing in such adverse conditions. The elderly mayor appeared to have a sense of impending doom. This brings us to the future island of Egghead, situated in the New World. Even on that island, the prevailing situation involving the rising water levels was widely recognized. However, the cause behind this phenomenon remained an enigma. The naval presence gathered around Egghead Island was of an overwhelming magnitude, surpassing the destructive potential of a Buster Call and making it seem insignificant in comparison. This formidable fleet consisted of over 100 ships, ranging in size and class. In a surprising turn of events, a mechanical giraffe aggressively attacked one of the marine vessels, causing great alarm among the crew members. The chaos caused by the mechanical creature was halted when a beam of light pierced through it, ending its rampage. Sentomaru, taking charge, reprimanded Kizaru for engaging the weaponized sea beast against his intentions. However, the admiral maintained that the creature had initiated the aggression. This intricate operation was under the leadership of 9 marine vice-admirals, 2 of whom are familiar to us by name, Doberman and Dahl. Among the group present, there were a few individuals previously glimpsed but unknown to us, along with several more newcomers added to the mix. Notably, they were all under the command of Admiral Kizaru. While savoring a bowl of ramen, the admiral candidly remarked that Sentomaru was proving to be quite the challenge for him. He pondered whether it would be simpler for them to surrender outright. However, Sentomaru displayed no inclination to yield, remaining steadfast in his stance. As Sentomaru enjoyed some onigiri himself, he casually mentioned that Vegapunk had drawn inspiration from the research conducted on the abilities of the individual they were confronting. This insight had influenced the design of the pacifist lasers. The scene shifted to a glimpse of a youthful Borsellino, Vegapunk, and Sentomaru. Notably, Sentomaru found it difficult to fathom that the Marine's purpose in being there was to eliminate the esteemed doctor. Kizaru retorted that Vegapunk's own choice to delve into the Void Century research had left him vulnerable, as no one could shield him from the consequences. To Kizaru, Vegapunk was merely a cog within the larger mechanism. Despite this, Kizaru conceded that their current engagement against Egghead Island wasn't entirely in their best interest. The destruction they caused would ultimately lead to a net loss for them. With the passage of time, Kizaru had come to a conclusion. Lulusia and the operatives of CP0 must have failed in their mission to assassinate Drive. Sentomaru attributed the success to the Straw Hat pirates. Seated within one of the warships was a member of the Gorosei. He instructed Doberman to ensure absolute secrecy regarding his presence on the scene. His eyes landed on the headlines. Straw Hat pirates storm Egghead, taking Vegapunk hostage. The article had piqued his interest, and he particularly appreciated its catchy title, a crafty creation by Morgan. Doberman revealed that they had yet to receive any communication from CP0, leaving the success of their assassination mission uncertain. However, given Sentomaru's formidable resistance, arriving at their own conclusions wouldn't be particularly difficult for them. It was reasonable to deduce that Drive, Vegapunk and his 6 satellites had taken refuge in the Labostratum region of the island. Furthermore, it was likely that 4 Seraphim had been designated to provide protection for them. A logical assumption was that they had joined forces with the Yonko, Straw Hat Luffy, along with his crew of 10 individuals. Among the advance guard were CP0 agents Lulusia, Kaku, and Stussy. Beyond them, a group of other Cypher Pole agents were being held captive in the Fabriostratum, a situation that was believed to be orchestrated by Sentomaru and his battalion of Mark III Pacifista. The Frontier Dome, currently operating at full capacity, ensured that movement in or out of the Labostratum was highly restricted. However, a significant blind spot existed concerning events transpiring inside the dome over the past day or so. Garcia Saturn was puzzled about the whereabouts of the researchers and laborers from Egghead Island. In response, Doberman explained that they had conducted an evacuation the previous day. Nonetheless, they faced difficulties in tracing and confirming the current locations of the evacuated vessels. A grave expression crossed his face as the reach of Emu's influence hinted at the possibility that any one of them might possess critical information. This potential threat warranted immediate action, including sinking those ships. Before carrying out this directive, Doberman added another piece of information. He noted that the voracious jewelry user, Bonney, was currently reported to be on Egghead Island as well. Garcia Saturn recognized her name as belonging to Kuma's daughter. And intriguingly, his response toward her was notably distinct. The higher-ups had concluded that she was no longer of value. Considering her young age, they deemed it appropriate to leave her be. However, just then, an officer urgently summoned Admiralkizaru's attention. A transmission from Egghead had been intercepted, a seemingly long-range communication. Simultaneously, a dendenmushi began to ring within the holy land of Mary Geoise. Another officer informed Kizaru that, due to the black transponder snail on his left arm, he could also listen in on the call. In what was referred to as the Room of Authority, 4 of the Gorosei convened for a conversation with Vegapunk York. They were taken aback by the unexpected contact. During the call, York criticized the behavior of the elders and accused them of attempting to eliminate her and the others. This was especially disrespectful considering her efforts to inform them about Vegapunk Stella's treachery. However, they acknowledged that she was equally entrenched in the world of Vegapunk. While the conversation unfolded, Saturn, sipping his wine, also tuned into the call. York contended that if she held any genuine interest in the Void Century research, it would be illogical for her to betray them in the first place. Among the listeners, the individual who wielded a sword was struck by York's resilience, pondering if CP0 had visited her and inquiring about the fate of the Straw Hat pirates. In response, York asserted that as the initiator of the call, she would allow them to speculate. She emphasized her control over the Seraphim and implied that her survival throughout the night shouldn't be regarded as astonishing, given her capabilities. Swiftly shifting the conversation, York redirected their focus by questioning the purpose of the fleet surrounding the island. She speculated if they were preparing for a confrontation against her. However, one of them admitted to a change of heart regarding the matter. He inquired if she possessed the ability to independently replicate the Mother Flame. York was visibly pleased that they still had a demand to make of her. The fact that they retained a need for her skills brought her satisfaction for initiating the contact. It was revealed that their actions were spurred by a unique request. Curious about the nature of this request and the caller's identity, York expressed her wonder. However, if fulfilling this request indeed entailed her expertise, she stipulated that it would have to occur on Egghead Island. With a wide smile on her face, Vegapunk York posed a question with her eyes hidden, asking if they would guarantee not to harm her or her laboratory. The terms were agreed upon, including Vegapunk York's desire to become a celestial dragon. which was also accepted. With these arrangements in place, Vegapunk York confirmed the deal. However, she added a crucial condition that needed to be addressed first. Tearfully, she pleaded for their assistance in saving her. To everyone's astonishment, she revealed that Straw Hat Luffy was present and intended to kill her. The shock was evident on Kizaru's and the 5 elders' faces. The scene unfolded with Vegapunk York lying prone on the floor, Zoro poised with his sword above her. She had been handcuffed and the entire group was together. Notably, both Bonney and Lucy were present. Meanwhile, Luffy continued to munch on his meat, seemingly oblivious to the situation. He suggested they could use her as a human shield for escape. Bonney speculated if they were under siege, Usopp was the one conducting the call. Amid the unfolding chaos, there was a realization that if their conversation was being recorded, it would have profound implications. The tension escalated as Vegapunk Stella made a straightforward remark about the actual circumstances. With that, Vegapunk York's intricate web of conspiracy and betrayal was abruptly dismantled.